Everyone I've ever worked with who presents with IBS is absolutely unique. There are no two people that have exactly the same IBS. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But for now, I want to talk about the flip side, which is that everyone with IBS experiences certain things that they have in common. At the top of the list is incredible suffering. IBS produces tremendous levels of pain and discomfort, even though the way you experience it may be different than a different IBS sufferer. The people I've seen with IBS present with incredible worries and concerns about loss of control. Loss of control over what happens in their body, loss of control over aspects of their day-to-day lives, loss of control or a loss of connection to the life that they used to live and fear they may never be able to get back to living again. And almost every single person that I've ever seen for more than 30 years who presents with IBS also has in common the story that they have seen multiple doctors, they've gone through multiple procedures, they may have gone through multiple treatments, they may have experienced some relief with a particular approach, but almost all of them end up saying the relief that they get doesn't last. So that's what IBS sufferers have in common. Let's talk about what makes IBS unique to individual and why that matters in this approach. Briefly, because IBS is unique to each individual, even though they have those various factors that I mentioned in common, there is no cookie-cutter approach. There is no one-size-fits-all for everybody. So what you're going to be exposed to are a series of different dimensions, like a jigsaw puzzle, that you will be able to put together in a way that works for your particular and unique circumstances. How is it that a condition that is so common can still be as unique to each individual as your fingerprint? Well, everybody has unique genetics that makes them more or less vulnerable to how food is digested, how stress is processed, how they experience day-to-day life. Along those lines, there really are no two people who experience the same set of circumstances in life. There's some very interesting research going back decades showing that twins, identical twins who have exactly the same genetic material, raised in the same house, still end up reporting that their experience of life circumstances is different. Each of us, you included, have a unique set of life circumstances, and that also intersects with what's going on in your body to create a pattern of IBS unique to you. Even before we come into the world, while we're still in the womb, we're already beginning to develop our own particular unique microbiome, our unique set of bacteria that will define us like a fingerprint for the rest of our lives. As we come into the world, as we get fed bottled milk or breast milk, as we grow up in different environments, as we're fed different foods, the kind of bacteria that we're exposed to become very much specialized to live inside of you, and they're necessary because without them you wouldn't be able to survive, but the ones that do live inside you are absolutely unique to you. So all those different factors that make your particular IBS pattern unlike the pattern of anybody else is the foundation or is the basis for why I created IBS Relief Now. I want, through your participating in the different material that we have to offer, setting time aside and doing the practices on a consistent basis, you'll be able to recognize what is especially relevant to you, emphasize that, and things that really don't fit, you'll be able to put into the background. The result will be a program tailored to your specific needs. I want you to come into this recognizing that I am speaking directly to you and your needs, and together we're going to find something that works for you. So for the last few minutes, I've been talking with you about this idea of your uniqueness, that your IBS is unlike anybody else's, even though you may have some things in common with other IBS sufferers. Now, when you think about what the common approaches are for treating IBS, they involve prescribing a diet. Take this pill, eliminate this food. Why don't you learn to relax? Why don't you go do some yoga? Why don't you learn to de-stress? You're so anxious and worried. Why don't you get better sleep? You seem a little depressed. Maybe you should take an antidepressant. The people I've seen in my office come in, you can almost see the steam coming out of their ears because they have been through so many different approaches and programs and health professionals, each of whom is emphasizing one particular aspect of what can help this condition get better. Very few of them are able to put it together in what we might call lifestyle medicine. Now that sounds like a modern concept, doesn't it? Lifestyle medicine? It isn't. Well over 2,000 years ago, the Greeks had a word called Diata, D-I-A-T-A, and Diata meant lifestyle. It was an approach that is very old because it took into account the idea that although each of us is unique, we have certain things in common. And when we combine them into a healthy lifestyle that includes diet, we are often on a better path to living a life with less symptoms, with more joy, with more energy, with more ability to get out of life exactly what you're looking for. So the message I want to give you is that IBS Relief Now is about not diet, but Diata. If you want to learn how to manage IBS, let's go beyond diet or other narrowly focused approaches and get into that broad picture that you can tailor to your individual and specific needs. So let me give you an example of why a focus on Diata makes a bigger difference than a focus on diet alone. Let's say that you've eliminated gluten or maybe dairy. Good. You'll begin to feel perhaps a little bit better for a few days, maybe even a few weeks. But it won't be long before your gut begins to readjust and the symptoms begin to come back. When you recognize that your gut bacteria can fundamentally change every 20 minutes, you recognize that what you were like on the day that you first introduced gluten-free or non-dairy foods is very unlike the gut even a day and certainly a week or a few weeks later. At the same time, it's very important that as you're making a change toward gluten-free or non-dairy foods, if that's what is important for you, you're also looking at the bigger picture. When you eat, how you eat, the pace of eating, your daily stress level, how you move, how you work with your social connections, how often you laugh, how often you exercise, how well you sleep. You get the idea. The point is that a narrowly focused change, like introducing a new food or eliminating one that you've eaten before, is rarely able to produce the long-lasting, consistent benefit that I know you're looking for. So it's not your diet, it's your Diata. So as I finish up this video, I want to welcome you once again to IBS Relief Now and our mini course. I look forward to having you aboard in our next video segment as we begin to give you a taste of the good life that lies ahead.